Hello, listeners. Welcome to yet another special episode of Courage Talks. Special guest today is Lisa Smith-Batchen. She is an endurance runner, ultra runner, personal coach. She was the first woman to do the Badwater Quad. She's run 50 miles in 50 states in 62 days, and that was a record at some point of time. I don't know if it's still holding on, but numerous records in ultra, and she's got a couple of Ironmans also sneaked in her record list. Pleasure to have you on board, Lisa. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Same here. So the topic is Courage Talks. The story behind this is my book, Against All Odds, where I talk about my father's stories of courage. What does courage mean to you?
Boy, that's such a broad word. I think courage comes in so many different ways and so many different elements of life. For some people, it takes courage just to step out the front door. For others, it takes courage to train to climb Mount Everest. I think that courage is such a personal journey and a word that exists for all of us. What does courage look like? To me, it looks really big, really big. Courage of a lion, or the courage to do something really hard. And that could be anything for some people.
True. Any role model for courage? Who would you look up at as an exemplary example of courage?
As an athlete, I would look at one of my good friends and students, 𝗟𝗏𝗄𝗏, who is completely blind, has prosthetic eyes, and deaf, has a cochlear implant, and was on his way home, and a bomb went off in his face in Afghanistan. He lost his eyesight and he lost his hearing, and he decided one day, sitting in his kitchen, that he could sit there and feel sorry for himself, or he could be the best blind deaf person alive. That's exactly what he's doing. He's showing the courage to get up and continue to be the best version of himself possible. And I was fortunate enough to coach him and guide him through the Badwater 135-mile race. I have to tell you, as an athlete and as a coach, that was my most extraordinary athletic endeavor to be a part of.
That's
the courage that it took for him, the trust other people to follow behind us in our footsteps. Pretty amazing.
Wow, that's quite amazing. I don't think I've heard of a story more bolder than that. We know a lot about your running achievements, your coaching achievements. Your adult life is quite visible through your records. But not many of the listeners might know about your growing up days, your childhood days. So why don't you just take us down memory lane? Where did you grow up? And some of the special memories you have from your childhood, if you could narrate.
Great. I grew up in a suburb of Chicago in Deerfield, Illinois. I have three older brothers and a younger sister. So I grew up with quite a big family. Neither of my parents were athletes at all. My brothers were all athletes, and having three brothers that were athletes, I was definitely a tomboy, following along and trying to beat the brothers. So I definitely had great motivation behind always being active. We lived outside most of the time. Things have changed. We were always outside. We would ride our bikes and run until my mom rang a bell when it was time to come in for dinner. So just being active and being outside all the time is still where I like to be. I'd rather be outside than be anywhere else. So I feel very fortunate that I grew up that way, with the opportunity to play outside. And that's still kind of how I do carry on. My brothers played football, they were hockey players, and despite my not wanting to go watch them all the time, my mom would drag us all along so that we had to watch. And watching hockey really broadened my spectrum of pulling tires. This has been going on in my life for 50 years. It's not anything that was new, that was created. So watching how people train was part of how I grew up.
Very interesting. You mentioned about your childhood days. You mentioned about you being part of a 40 family. but ultra running and long distance racing is a totally different ballgame. So who conned you into it? What was your first run that you remember where you really started feeling that running is the sport that you are going to be pursuing for a very long time?
Well, oddly enough, in high school, I didn't make our cross country or track team. And the thing I loved to do was run. So I didn't make the team.
Okay.
And I
Uh-huh.
kind of went on through life feeling like I was no good. I wasn't any good at that sport at all. So I went on to do swimming and diving and biking, and I was always kind of doing something. I played on a
Right.
softball team. I was in gymnastics. I was very fortunate to be able to try most every sport, including
Mhm.
hockey, all those things. So it wasn't until after that I decided I ran a marathon. I ran a
Mhm.
marathon and I ran a practice marathon to make sure that I could actually run the distance
Yeah.
because I was really afraid I wouldn't be able to do it. And when
Mhm.
I ran the first marathon, which was a local one near our home, I'm running through the finish line. I hear people saying, "You're going to Boston. You're going to Boston." And I was like, "What's a Boston?" I had no idea what Boston was. Needless to say, I qualified for Boston Marathon. And I kind of just kept running. I kept running, and then started cycling and swimming, and next thing, Ironmans, and it just kind of evolved. And then in 1995, I got invited to do the Eco Challenge. It was the first adventure race, which was in Utah. Included mountain biking and horseback riding and rock climbing, all of these things I'd never done before. All of these things that scared me a lot.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I landed on a team with Marshall Ulrich. Marshall
Wow.
Ulrich, who is one of my great inspirations, and I consider him like a brother. The minute
Mhm.
we met, we have been close ever since. But it's Marshall who's really inspired me watching what he's done to be like, you can do this, you can do this. So,
Yeah.
Eco Challenge, 1995, April. It was over 300 miles, and we did a lot of running. Marshall says, "You really ought to do Badwater." And I said, "What's a Badwater?" Same thing as like, "What's a Boston?"
Yeah.
What's a Badwater? So when he told me it's a 135-mile run in
Right.
Death Valley, July, I was like, who does that? I've never heard of anything over 26.2 miles or an Ironman. So
Yeah.
that was April. Marshall introduced me to the race director at the time, his name Matt Frederick, and
Mhm.
said, "You really ought to invite her to do this
Okay.
Badwater race." July, I was at the starting line of the Badwater 135.
So
And
back then didn't have these tough qualification requirements
no,
and oh, okay. So you got
did not
lucky.
have the tough qualifications, but it didn't make it any less tough. I can
Of
tell
course,
you
yeah.
that
The
much.
event, of course. In fact, it might work the other way around because you didn't have those
Yes.
tough qualifications. You might not have gauged the gravity or the difficulty of the event.
No idea the difficulty of the event. "Hey, Marshall, how do I train for this?" "Oh,
Okay.
just wear a few extra clothes and do a few extra miles." And 135 miles, there was literally no website. You can't go on and check the course or any of that. So when
You
I
know what?
showed up,
Lisa, I'm going to put a disclaimer on this podcast. Don't try this at home.
right, don't
This
try
is
this at
not the
home.
way to prepare for bad water.
I showed up in Death Valley, got out of the car, and I
Yeah.
just could not believe the heat. There's nothing that could have prepared me
Yeah.
for that experience because you kind
Mhm.
of have to be there to experience it.
So
Now
this
the
was which
race,
year was this again, and how old were you then?
1995, I was
Okay.
35.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so that was my first ultra, Badwater 135, from the marathon to from
Right.
Ironman to Badwater. And so many times that first year I kept saying, "Where is Marshall? I'm gonna like wring his neck." But I can tell you it's there that I really discovered the love of like time on your feet and
Okay.
just the beauty of the evolution of what you go through with
Hmm.
that kind of time on your feet in the
Yeah.
heat, in the desert. Like I never got that in a marathon. I never got that in an Ironman. It was truly uniquely beautiful in all ways of like discovering yourself. So that's where it all started for me, with the love of endurance and kind of the yearning to go back, because you want to go back to that
Yeah.
experience. And it doesn't have to be Badwater. It happens in lots of places.
Very true. So 1995 is almost 31 years back. So one or two incidents during that event or anything that stays with you apart from the shock that you got when you got out?
I could not believe the mountains, the mountain
Hmm.
passes. I mean, I lived in a flat New Jersey. I went from
Okay.
flat New Jersey to Death Valley, which I'd never been to, extreme heat and extreme miles. Somebody can tell you about their experience, but until you experience it on your own, it's a whole different story. And the mountains, I couldn't even, the last 13 miles is uphill, just
Yeah.
up and up and up and up. And it just, the beauty surrounding all of it, as hard as it was, as
Yeah.
much as you didn't want to be there, you didn't want it to end either.
Very true. And what was your finish timing? Did you
You
do it
know, I
with?
don't even remember. I don't even remember. Yeah, I'm one of those people who doesn't remember. Like, it's not important. I know that I finished and that I
Yeah.
did okay. I did pretty well, but it was just incredible. I have no idea the time. I'd have to go and look at their website.
So you went from there to straight away went on to do more ultras. How did the journey evolve from there? And by this time, were you having a large running buddies, group circle? What was it back then like? Were you dependent on other people telling you about the event? Would you make sure that someone is traveling with you, or you would just pack and go and run?
That's a great question. I was kind of on my own little journey. It was ultra running 35 years ago, 30 years ago. I mean, now it's exploding like crazy. It was nowhere near where it was. There wasn't that
Yeah.
many women doing what I was
Yeah.
doing. And it's not what draw me to do it, like being not, there's not many women. It's that I
Hmm.
literally fell in love with the sport, that you could train and do anything. You could
Hmm.
walking outside, pulling a tire, you can go on hikes and you can bike and you can do anything to get in shape for
Yeah.
endurance running. Wasn't like an Ironman. An Ironman, you have to swim, bike, and run. You have to be
Hmm.
very disciplined, swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run. So I love the variety of training that I did for myself. Some people who are ultra running, all they want to do is run. I'm
Yeah.
a big believer in cross training, and that's how I still train. The yearning doesn't go away. The yearning of, I truly believe it's just self-discovery, where you can draw within yourself.
Right. And while all this was happening, what was happening on your personal and professional life? When did you get married? Was Jay also into running? Did that get you together?
That's
What's
a
the story?
great question. So I did the Marathon des Sables,
Yeah.
150, 155 miles through the Sahara Desert. And
Which year was that?
that race is actually going on right now.
Yeah.
1999, I did
Okay.
the Marathon des Sables, and I saw the race on National Geographic. And I thought,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, that looks incredible. And so I figured out how to get there, and I did. I ran the race one year, I believe it was 1998.
Okay.
And the next year, 1999, I went back, and Jay, my
Hmm.
husband now, that's where I met
Yeah.
him. He
Oh,
was,
interesting.
yeah, he was doing filming for Discovery Channel. They were
Okay.
doing an edition called The Burning Sands.
Very
So I
interesting.
tell
That's
people,
a beautiful name for the run.
yeah, I saw this really cute guy in the desert with a camera in his hand, and I was looking good and running well. And so I chased the cameraman. That's what I tell people. I chased the cameraman. We've been together
So
ever
who
since.
did you run faster? Your heart ran faster.
Both. I have
Yeah.
both ran faster. Well, and believe it or not, that I ended up winning the race that year for the
Wow.
women. Yeah, I won the race that year, but I
Hmm.
also met my husband there.
And
So
but
what a win.
he was a cameraman. He was not running the race.
No, he was not running the race.
Okay.
And he went on to run that race. He was kind of a runner, couldn't keep up with me then. Now I'm like, wait for me. I can't keep up with him. He's a hockey player, but he's also done the Marathon des Sables 16
Oh,
times.
okay. 16
Six,
times?
yeah, he's done it 16 times.
Among all the people that I said you need to get me on the show, you never mentioned about your husband.
Right?
That
Yeah,
says a lot about your modesty, I should say.
yeah, he's pretty special. And he
Wow.
doesn't really run that much. He plays ice hockey.
Okay.
And that's how we got in shape for Marathon des Sables, pretty much. He ran very little, and every year he'd get better and better.
And by the time you did the Badwater double in 2006, I believe, you were donning multiple hats. You were a mother as well, apart from being a wife and a runner. And this is something which every woman runner struggles, balancing home and your passion for running. How was it like for you? And I'm sure, purely on a topic of courage, I'm sure you would have a lot of examples to share in terms of how did you juggle around the different roles and what kind of compromises you had to make, if any, and what are some of the biggest sacrifices that you still have fond memories of, or maybe bad memories of, I would say.
Ah, well, I guess even a bad memory can become a good one if you find something positive in it. That
That's true.
I spent a lot of time just running around the driveway and doing, when you have young kids, you have to be really creative. You know, Jay would stay home. Luckily, had that situation. I'd be up
Hmm.
at 3 or 4 in the morning, and my training would be when everyone was sleeping most
Yeah.
often. So I sacrificed sleep mostly.
Hmm.
Or I would take my kids with me. I would push them in a carriage, and then
Okay.
I would push one in front of me and pull one behind me. I love being strong more than anything. So I never left my kids out. I took them with me. I planned my runs while they were sleeping or while it was a nap time or something like that. Like I really planned. You're always trying to keep a balance. And with a mother, especially, I believe there's a lot of guilt that comes with,
Yeah.
I want to train, but how am I going to work this out? My
Yeah.
kids loved going in the chariots, pushed one, pull the other, or sometimes two together, or I'd take them on the bike. You figure it out. If
Wow.
it's really important to you, you'll find a way or you'll make a way. And it came like I had other mothers where we switched off. You
Ah,
watched my kids, I watched your kids. So we try,
right.
you're always daily trying to create balance. But it was really important to me to not leave my kids out.
Hmm.
People would say, I don't know how you're going to do it, with your having these kids. And I'm like, my kids made my life better. And they still do make my life better. They don't hamper my lifestyle at all. To this day, still, I'm always changing my plans, sacrificing anything for my kids. They are the most important. And they're also some of my biggest supporters
Of course.
of understanding, why does mom want to do this? Why does mom like to do this? And how is mom going to do this? And I can tell you now, as they're in their 20s, that I'm an older mom. My kids are adopted. One was
Hmm.
adopted, I was 43, the other 46. Your kids see what you're doing. They
Yeah.
watch what you're
Of course.
doing, and they watch the sacrifices that you make for them. To me, that takes courage, but it's also about love. Courage and love really go together. When you love deeply, your courage is expanded. I love my husband deeply, but I would do anything for those kids. And experiences, you take them. We've taken them to Morocco. We've taken them places. I feel like their life is enhanced
Mhm.
because of our sports. Now they're both athletes themselves.
Yeah. No, but taking your kids along when you go for a run is insane. What would be the longest distance that you would have taken both the kids along?
Oh boy, that's a great question. Probably like 20, but
20
going up,
miles?
yeah, going
Wow.
up, literally, I would climb this really long 7-mile hill, pulling one and pushing the other. And
Are you serious?
yeah, it was very hard.
You get any awards for this, Lisa? I'm sure there would be some award. You could compete in pulling the kids along marathon.
No, I didn't need a reward. The reward was that they would actually go. And the reward was that they would actually enjoy it. We would sing and they'd be like, "Come on, mom, come on, pull, get up that hill." And we made it fun. And my oldest daughter, she got big enough where her feet were sticking out of the chariot. Like she was too big to be in there, but she still wanted to go. So I thought, okay, how are we going to make this work out? Then I'd pull them on a sled. Like you just found creative ways to
Yeah.
include them in the training. I'd carry one on a backpack and one on the front, and we'd go hike with snowshoes. And it goes back to find a way or make one,
So did they
and
get
then,
into running eventually as well, just like you and Jay?
well, one of them is totally into weightlifting and bodybuilding. The other one is running her first half marathon next month.
Wow.
She was
How
a hockey
expensive is
player,
going to be?
hockey player, both in lacrosse. When it came time for them, we never missed a game. We never
Yeah.
missed their time.
Hmm.
So you're always creating it. But then when you're gone to run the Badwater Quad, 12 days, you're gone. To
Yeah.
run 50 miles in 50 states, I was gone. But they would show up places and they knew what I was doing and why I was doing what I was doing. And they were always part of it. They're always part of it. And I think as parents, continuing your dreams and your goals to the best of your ability. I mean, how grateful am I to have the support of Jay? We're a
Yeah.
good team in that we work together really well. And I'd say, I want to do this run. And he would say, okay, let's figure out how we can make it happen. That I'm very blessed to have that. But it doesn't mean I've left my kids behind. It means that they are also a part of the experience.
True.
And
That's
when you watch your parents do something that's big and
yeah.
important to them, it's helpful for your children. It's
Very
not
true.
selfish.
And then once there was this massive charity run that you did. Tell us about it. How did the whole idea come about? How did you go around running the campaign for the same as well?
For the 50 miles in 50 states,
Yeah.
it was called Run Hope Through America. So, boy, the word hope that comes with courage, we
Yeah,
have
of
to
course.
yeah, it really does. So, my best friend in the whole world, my mentor, I also call her my godmother, Sister
Mm-hmm.
Mary Beth Lloyd, is a Catholic nun with the Religious Teachers of 𝗕𝗁𝗄𝗄. And I
Okay.
met her when I was in my 20s. And in my 20s, I was kind of a mess of a person. And I
Mm-hmm.
was running, always winning the races I was running, but I was never really happy at all. Like winning didn't make me happy for some reason. Just didn't
Yeah.
make me happy. And I met her and we started working together. I was a coach, cross country and track coach. She was a nun in New Jersey at the Villa Walsh Academy. We
Mm-hmm.
became instant friends. She's also a runner and somebody you're going to have on your podcast.
Wow.
She lives in Rome. She lives in
Okay.
Rome now, and she's a runner.
Mm-hmm.
And we started running together. She has to run in her black habit, and I would be running in shorts and a little jog bra. We got a lot of attention, the two of us. So needless to say, I
Sure.
was in my 20s. For
Yeah.
my 50th birthday, she and I got asked to go to Green Bay, Wisconsin to do a talk for a group of
Mm-hmm.
people.
Okay.
And at this talk, we were sitting in the hotel together. And I looked at her like we're looking at each other. And I said, for my 50th birthday, I want to
Uh-huh.
run 50 miles in 50 states. And it
Okay.
has to be 62 days. She goes, that's impossible. I said, why? why is that impossible? And I told her why we would do it. We would do it to raise money. We would do it for, and I'm saying we, meaning that she would have to come with me. She would have to come with me. Still, nope, that's not possible. And the reason 62 days is because I love the distance 100K. And it would also be the day before Father's Day, because I had already had it mapped out of when I could leave home and how it would work. But this was only 4 months away. And I told her we could start in New Jersey and how we would finish where I lived.
Yeah.
And she said, all right, if it's 50 miles from this point in New Jersey to this point in New Jersey, it's meant to be. So she goes, I'll pray about it. So the next day she goes, we're doing it. We're like, she prayed about it and said she got an answer and that we're supposed to do it. And we did. And she did 20 miles a day in every state. And I did 50. It was literally incredible. It was incredible the amount of people in every state that came out. How it worked out was literally God's plan. Wow. The people we met along the way, the people that came and said, because of you, we're going to live another day, or because of you, of what you're doing. And it sort of exploded. We were on Good Morning America, and we were on, it was little old me and the Catholic nun running hope through America. And we did.
Where was this and what's your birth date?
So this was 15 years ago. I'm 65 now. This was 15 years ago. And we finished the day we said we would. And it was incredible. The people we met along the way, we were in an RV camper and went from one state to the next. Like, you finish running that day, you get in the camper and you drive to the next state. And we had captains in every state. I don't know how it worked out, but it did. Captains in each state, where we did like a loop, 2-mile loop or a 5K loop, because people could come out and run one loop or walk 2 loops or run the whole thing with you. And then I had to fly to Alaska and fly to Hawaii. And of course, Sister Mary Beth went with me everywhere we went. And if she wasn't running with me, she was praying. It was very challenging, very hard, very much sleep deprivation and exhaustion, not just from running, but from people and hearing stories of life and hearing so many people need help. And I really realized that how much hope is needed, not just in India or Iran or wherever, but right here in your own backyard. The need for help changed for me. How much help to be more open to your neighborhood, of people in your life, that help comes in all kinds of ways.
Very true. Just a small aside, how did your parents take all your running achievements?
My mom would always say, when are you going to stop doing this? When she would be very concerned and worried.
Did they ask you, what are you running away from?
Well, that's exactly why I was running. I was running away. I was running because I was an angry kid. I was running away. And when I met Sister Mary Beth, I was running for. I was running for a purpose. I was running to help people. So most of my running turned into raising money for various causes, or raising recognition for various causes. I took it away from winning because that didn't make me happy. And the purpose became a purpose greater than myself, where I could use my gift of running or my gift of whatever it might be to bring hope, to help any organization or somebody who needed help. And that's where I found the joy.
Got it. We many times find this saying in the gym, pain is mandatory, suffering is optional. And that's easy for us to say as runners because we volunteer to runs. We volunteer to inflict pain on us. We can ignore the suffering, but it's not true for everyone. Like in case of your sister who went through a tough time because of colon cancer. suffering was onboarded on her without her wishes. Why don't you just walk us through that journey, if you don't mind? Seeing your sister suffer would not have been easy. How did you hold yourself through those moments? Any facets or any aspects about her that still remain with you? How did you draw inspiration from the fight that she fought all the way?
Every day I draw inspiration from her. It's hard to talk about, obviously, because it still chokes me up. I lost half of me. Even though we lived our own separate lives, but growing up, we shared a room, we shared a bed, we were very different people.
And you
She
fought as I'm sure. And you
she
fought
got
as well?
married. Yeah, she got married really young, had four
Uh-huh.
kids. She's got four kids, and she's a grandmother before I even had adopted a kid. So we had very different lives, but the love is eternal. So she and I were doing this 267-mile challenge together, the Badwater 267-mile challenge that the race director puts on through the month of January. So she's living in Utah and I'm living in Wyoming, and we signed up to do this together, where you have to cover 8 miles a day. You got to cover 8 miles a day. She'd never done anything like that. So we're both doing it together through the winter, tromping around outside, like really holding each other accountable. And that was in January. And we both did it. We finished. The next month was February. She was having some stomach pain and thought maybe it was appendicitis. Went to the hospital and found out she had stage 4 colon cancer. So we went from celebrating doing this together to stage 4 colon cancer. And life shifted quickly for
Yeah.
her husband, for her kids. And I'll never forget getting that call from her. And there's not a lot you can do, but
Yeah.
she did everything she could do. And it was brutally painful. So when I hear the word suffer, I think of her getting a liver biopsy. The pain, the suffering doesn't go away. And of course, she did all she could do to try to beat this thing, but there was not the opportunity to beat it. It didn't beat her. Her attitude was the most heroic act of courage I've ever seen in my life. To handle this with such grace and dignity, incredible. To the very last minute of her life, courage beyond words and grace. But
True.
the suffering, when I'm doing 2,500 miles, yeah, I'm in pain, I'm hurting, but I get to sit down at the end of the day, put my feet up, eat a good meal, and try to recover. My feet are swollen, things are hurting, but my definition of suffering certainly changed. We're doing this by choice. People who are starving to death, those are suffering people. They're suffering, and that is not by choice. So I think if we can take that word suffering a little different out of our sport,
Yeah.
we're doing it by choice. I mean, yeah, you're in pain, you're tired, you're hurt, but man, I've seen people suffer. So have you. You've
Yeah.
seen people suffer. And in our lifetime, we will all experience suffering. But I don't believe it's in sport because we choose to do that.
And I'm sure you would agree with this. Any amount of self-inflicted suffering that we put on ourselves through our running or whatever can ever prepare to see someone else suffering like you saw your sister.
No. Yeah, and my sister's not the only one. I've had a good friend with ALS, watching her barely be able to breathe. There was no coming back from that. And acceptance with such grace and dignity. It's indescribable to be a part and to watch somebody go through those things.
Yeah.
And I know that most of us in our lifetime will.
Yeah.
And to watch somebody suffering greatly, the end of their life is coming. They're in pain. Sure,
Yeah.
give me more medication, but the pain is inevitable and it's not going away. And
Yeah.
it's not by choice.
True. And I think there are two emotions which come strongly in such situations. One is humility, the other is hopelessness. on the one hand, we feel extremely a lot of gratitude towards God that, okay, I'm fine. I'm able to bear self-inflicted pain, and I don't have to be looking at any such kind of a natural pain coming. Second, then you feel helpless that despite my best efforts, I cannot understand what the pain this person is going through. I can, as many words I might try to describe, but I will never ever be able to understand what exactly this person is going through.
Very true. Unless you experience it yourself.
Exactly. And with cancer, it very rarely happens. It's such a gruesome disease that once you've gone through it, you really don't have that much. I mean, at a younger age, you might probably get out and talk about it. There are lots of people who have gone through cancer and come out and written a book about it and so on and so forth. But then, of course,
Absolutely.
the other element of ultra endurance running is failure. Looks like you never tasted failure, but I'm sure you have. So
Oh
why
my
don't
gosh, of course. I mean,
you said you got bored of getting podiums and winning? I'm like, yeah, she's so cool. She's so great.
well, that was back in the day. Honestly, it was important for me to like beat you. And
Yeah,
I get that. I coach people to beat you. They want to win and they
yeah,
should. You got to find out what you're capable of.
yeah.
And that's a personal journey. I tell people you can either run in the race, participate in the race, or you can race the race. There is a big difference. And there's a difference in how you train. I want to win that race. Well, your training looks very different than if you're just going to participate in the
Yeah,
race. So,
yeah,
running the race, winning the race, it's very different. When I was winning, it was because I wanted to, but it didn't make me happy. So I
yeah,
knew if I went out to try to win a race today, there's just no way. Like I
yeah,
just don't have it in me anymore. That I love to participate and be a part of something adventurous, but the word race
yeah,
for me doesn't exist anymore. But that's a hard transition for a lot of athletes to go from winning to I'm just here to participate. I don't care if I'm last. So it's humbling for sure, but I can honestly say the winning didn't make me happy. But I see
mhm,
that it makes a lot of other people happy, and that
yeah,
makes me happy for them because I understand their level of happiness is different.
yeah,
What makes me happy is knowing that the gifts God gave me, I can help other people. That's what makes me happy is to see that. And I see more and more athletes, and you don't have to be an athlete. You can play the guitar, you're a writer, like we all have gifts, and we can use those to help others. You
true.
write a book, your book is helping other people. Like you're
Yeah.
using your gifts and talents in ways that help people.
So, which was the race which didn't go as per plan and why?
Well, I wanted to run across America. I really believed I could break the record. A lot of people would tell you, wow, she's crazy that she could even think she could do that. I don't know why I believed I could. I just did. So why not try? And it didn't work out. It didn't work out. Day 5, my stomach started to blow up and I was moving really slow and just felt awful. And I landed up having to go to the emergency room in Palm Desert, California with
Mhm.
my crew. Well, needless to say, I needed to have my gallbladder taken out. It stopped working.
Oh
So
my.
I didn't have it done there. I came back home. And the level of defeat, disappointment, all the hard work, the planning, getting the crew, it was very difficult. And I did get my gallbladder out. That took several months to recover from. But despite the defeat, I don't really like to say DNF, you did not finish, you suck, you're terrible, blah, blah. Go on wagging your tail behind you, feeling terrible. I came up with like MTRC, make the right choice. I'm lying there in the emergency room and I said, well, can we take the gallbladder out and I can get back out in a day or two? And he's like, no, sorry, that's not possible. I'm like, of course it's possible. And then I got back home. I went to see the doctor here and I said to him, are you sure I need to do this, that my gallbladder needs to come out. And I said, if I was your wife sitting here right now, what would you tell her? And he said, I would tell her to be in my OR at 1:00 today in his operating room. I said, okay, all right. But all of that disappointment and everything behind it really turned into the most beautiful scenario because I realized it wasn't meant for me. And I realized that being gone at that time during my children's life, the things I would have missed. And it was just incredible. School plays, like the things I would have missed. So I really believe that God knocks you down and out and help you listen. He said, I'm so sorry. You might think you're supposed to do this, but you're not. So I was like, all right, thank you.
Luck next time.
Better luck next time. So then it was like, is there a next time? I don't know. Maybe when they're older, who knows? But you quickly, somehow, if you have faith and hope and courage, it takes courage to move on from something that you dreamed about and you planned for and you worked so hard for. But it's not like finding the silver lining. It's finding like, this was not meant for you after all, and allowing that to pass, feeling really good about it instead of feeling like a failure.
Right. Your biggest injury, your biggest layoff from work, from running, and how did you feel? How did you tackle the miserable feeling when you can't run, when you're dying to run and your body can't?
Well, my biggest layoff actually came not from an athletic injury. I've had very few injuries from being an athlete.
Okay.
I mean, the matter of fact, I can tell you sitting here right now at 65, almost 66, I have nothing that hurts. I am very fortunate.
Wow.
But I did have a massive knee injury where a garage door fell on my knee.
Oh, man.
So and took me out and had a pretty big surgery and was out. And it was like any athlete or any human being for that matter. It was tough being non-weight bearing, very much painful. And I would say I definitely suffered some. The pain was that of suffering because it was like so new and so difficult, but it slowly went away. The pain slowly went away, and today there's no pain whatsoever. So turning that into a big learning experience of what we're capable of. We're capable of doing hard things, and we're capable of overcoming and feeling like I'm never going to run again, but being able to run again. Some people do have injuries and they're never able to run again. I've not experienced that myself, but I've witnessed it with other people, and very challenging. I always say to some people, what are you going to do if you're not able to ever run again? And that's kind of inconceivable to think about.
So true.
So true.
You featured in a movie called Running Under the Sun. How did that happen? Amusing, or how
I don't know how it happened.
enjoyable experience that was?
I don't know how it happened. I just happened to be participating in the race. The movie Running on the Sun, believe it or not, the ending, I did go back to finish. Of course, it was unofficial and it wasn't part of the movie, but I would like people to know that I did go back to finish. It didn't end there for me. It ended there in the movie, but I did go back and finish the last 8 miles.
Wow, that's
so
interesting.
if you've ever watched the movie and it ends with me not finishing, I did go back to finish on my own, unofficially. So I really did finish Badwater 11 times, but I have one unofficial. The reason I went back, to me, I was fine with I've done it 10 times. But then I kept hearing this, well, you did it 9 times and you have one unofficial. The fact that I did go back and finish, to me, I did. Then it just kept hearing this one unofficial. And I'm like, screw it. I'm going to go back and get the 10th official. So I did. And I could turn in my race number and be totally happy with that. I don't need to go back and get 15, 20, 30 finishes. I was happy
Yeah.
to turn over my race number to somebody else and move on to other things.
Staying on Badwater, you're inducted in the Badwater Hall of Fame. And I'm sure you have a very clear perspective over the span of time that you've been doing the event. How has runners changed from the time when you did the first Badwater to in terms of gear, in terms of crew, in terms of physical ability? Do you think that runners are better prepared physically, or is it that the amount of information and stuff which is available, which supports them in their training, makes it a lot more easier as an event, or you think it still remains as gruesome as it was when you did it way back in 95?
That's a really good question. I think the evolution of the ultra running is incredible to watch. In 1995, the shoes I wore, the socks, we didn't know anything about blister care, the kind of salt. There were two choices of Gatorade, red and green. They were both awful. I remember finishing with a big red mouth. My teeth were red. So I would say, of course, the race is still as difficult. There's nothing that's changed about the course whatsoever. The challenge of the heat, none of that has changed. I do believe that nutrition, hydration, salt, shoes, clothing, everything in that respect is continuing to move forward. The way that people train, the information available. The first year I ran it, there was no website to read about the course. I just showed up and went, whoa, the unknown. I don't think people show up to races anymore with the unknown. They know what they're getting.
You even have a crew. You didn't have a crew as well, or you did?
Yeah, no, I had a crew, but nobody knew
Okay.
what they were doing. Nobody knew what they were doing. I'm not going to say we had it harder then. We had it different. The obstacles were different. The gear, for sure, the nutrition, the hydration. There's no reason for people to seriously fall apart and bonk and get dehydrated if you're following hydration and nutrition and all of the amazing information that's available that's
Yeah,
propelling athletes forward in all
very true.
kinds of ways. I mean, the times people are running, it's so exciting. It really is exciting. And it's also exciting to me to know that, wow, in the day, we had it different.
Yeah.
We didn't have Facebook and Instagram and AI and all of the ways to write a question and get the information right at your fingertips. It was really kind of trial and error and say, hey, Marshall, what do I eat out there? Get some jelly beans and some applesauce and off you go.
I guess life was a lot more easier at that time. The less stuff you have, the less difficult it is to choose what to eat.
Less is more. I mean, it's incredible still to this day to see some people show up at like a race Badwater with a van full of food and think you are never going to use any of that. It's all going to get donated. Less is more, and simplifying. Simplicity is huge. It takes practice in your training. Practicing there's thousands of choices now, hydration mixes and salt. How many gel choices are there? Like, there's no way, even as a coach, I could tell you, use this, use this, use this. You have to try. But when I was starting out, there were no choices. You used the choice that there was, the one choice, Gatorade.
As simple as that. Talking about coaching, I'm sure it's a very different experience from pushing yourself to pushing others, or maybe I won't use the word pushing, motivating others might be a better way to describe when you're coaching someone or prepping someone. Could you call out two things that work for you and work for your mentees, and two things which work for you but did not work for your mentees? If you can recollect anything that it's easy for you to push yourself, but it didn't work out for your students.
Wow, that's a good question. Again, you have great questions.
Thank
I'm very old school coaching. I
you. Yeah.
really love the simplicity. I'm not great at coaching somebody who loves all the gadgets in the world. I believe that kind of takes some of the fun out of it, some of the
Yeah.
unknown out of it,
Yeah.
that all of the gadgets in the world don't know you. That I
Yeah.
feel like what works best for me is I like to
Yeah.
get to know somebody. I like to get to know your family. Like I'm a family first coach. Your family comes first. Had someone call me and say, it's our 20th wedding anniversary. What do I do? Do I do my long run or what do I do? I said, no, you don't do your long run. You take your wife out and celebrate your anniversary. You know, like, but I'm
That's
so
true.
happy you wanted to follow your schedule. My way of coaching that works for the people I coach. I'm
Mm.
very picky who I take on. I have a phone call, we talk. My philosophy has to work with yours. Like our
Yeah.
philosophies have to mesh together. And oftentimes I refer people I talk to other coaches. I don't just keep taking people on. Let me
Mm.
coach you, let me coach you. It's a beautiful relationship of two people where there's number one accountability, there's trust, there's a lot of moving forward in life. I don't just coach people handing you a workout to do. I
Mm.
coach you checking in on you. I really care about the people I coach. And it's something I can't help that I care about person, not just that you're going to go run a race or try to win a race. That's definitely old school. Everything isn't by just by the books of how some people coach. I think every coach offers something different. Every
Mhm.
coach has a way that works best for them. My way of coaching is to find out what works best for the student. I don't call people clients, they're students. We're all students of life. We're continually learning every day. And as
Yeah.
a coach, it's up to me to learn how am I going to get the best out of this person? Is
Mm.
that using heart rate? Is that using zone? Is zone training? Is that based on time and effort or counting miles or, hey, I have 1 hour a day. What can I do? How can I run Badwater on 1 hour a day?
Mm.
Okay, well, we can try to figure that out. So, and that definitely doesn't work for some people. Some people really need all the gadgets and all of that technological information. But I see that it works both ways, where you
Mm.
integrate it all into finding out what's best for each person. I've had maybe two people in my entire career where I've actually told them, I don't think it's going to work out. I don't think I'm the right coach for you because I don't want to keep coaching somebody if I don't feel like it's a good fit. It means
Yeah.
that there's somebody else that's better for you, that's going to get you where you want to go in the way
Mm.
that you're looking for. I think for coaches that it takes a lot to realize that maybe I'm not the right coach for you, or I am the best coach for you. And I want my students to say that my coach is the best coach for me because that means it's working. Hopefully that answers part of your question.
It does very much. And there's a related question. You would be getting students in all shapes and sizes wanting to do events all over the world. Two things. First one, not being familiar with the terrain or the event. Has that ever been a limitation in you being able to coach or guide the student to be able to do that event well? Number one. Number two, the age difference, and you can bring in the gender as well. Has that at any time been a limitation to be able to gauge the other person's potential? Because I know you mentioned that you're old school, you're more instinctive, and nowadays coaches rely a lot on Garmin data and what was your HR and what was your stride length and so on and so forth. Any particular instance like that which has occurred with you where instinctiveness maybe did not work the way it was supposed to, and maybe a
Yeah,
data-based coaching might have
abs-
actually.
yeah, absolutely. An example, my youngest student that I have right now is 19 and the oldest is 94. So I feel
Okay,
like my old school ways
bring
definitely
them
work.
in.
Yeah, and
I
I
should refer
do.
some 100 plus runners to you.
Yes, well, they're out there. It's incredible. So for me, age isn't like a factor. I think that it comes with wisdom. And I'm continually learning. I'm learning and learning and learning. And the young people Garmin, Strava, Kouros, all of those things. I definitely check all of that. And I'm continually learning. But it doesn't work for everybody. Not everybody wants to use that. So as a coach, I also have to adapt to, if this relationship is going to work and you want me to coach you, I also have to learn what's working for you. And that's the beauty of it. That is totally the beauty of it. There's an example of an older person that I was working with, and she was like, I need more rest, and I need more this, and I need more that, and training for this huge mountain race that I've done. And it just wasn't working because I really didn't feel that the work she was doing was going to get her where she wanted to be. And that was fearful for me. So I'm hoping she has a different coach. There was just a big race in China that Sonia went to.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
You mentioned
Sonia.
about it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I had 4 other students doing this huge, massive race in China. And I've never been to the race. I've never seen the terrain of the race. So those that I were training flat Florida were in flat Florida or nowhere near the mountainous terrain that they were going to be running. The race directors didn't really release the information on the course till like the week before. So tough to really prepare somebody for what they were going to get into. And everybody who ran the race, I believe there were 10 Americans, they all ended up finishing together, but the words used were unbelievable. This is so ridiculously hard. So like I wasn't able to train them to the best of their ability. Number one, they didn't have that kind of terrain to train on, but we also didn't know. We didn't know exactly how brutal it was going to be. True. So as a coach, you have to try to help people prepare for obstacles in your path. There's going to be obstacles. And all of a sudden, the race is going to start at 8 o'clock at night on this massive hill. Have you trained at night before on trails, or are you just on a road in Florida? There's a lot that goes with it. So a lot is up to an athlete. A coach can coach you, but we can't do the race for you. Can help somebody prepare for a race by looking at the course and all of that. But as the athlete, you have to do your own work to prepare for the course. If you get lost out there, something happens. So I think there's a lot of unknown for a coach too. That's a bit scary. We can prepare you for the best mental part. Again, the obstacles put in your path, but we can't see them all. Obviously, I'm most comfortable coaching people with races I've done, races that I've done before.
That's very logical,
That's very logical. But then again, I've coached people for races I haven't done because I feel comfortable with reading about the course. Does that help?
A good point. Yeah, it does. And something related to that. So one event which you always wanted to do, but for whatever reason you could never do, and you have that sense of regret that, I missed out on that. And of course, you can still go and do it. I'm assuming the events are still there. But if there is any event like that, number one. Second, an event which you regretted doing it, you're like, I shouldn't have signed up for this for whatever reason. Maybe it didn't turn out to be as difficult as you had wanted it to be, or it turned out to be far more easier than what you would have liked. Any such examples that you have for either of these two cases?
Well, the one event I did not do, and there is no way I could do it now because I'm not fast enough anymore, is the Spartathlon in Greece.
Okay.
So there's definitely time span because the cutoffs are pretty tough. And I definitely am sad that I never got to do that because it's my kind of race on the road, in the hills, and in the heat. And a matter of fact, I had a conversation with a student just yesterday who's going to Spartathlon. And she kept thinking, like, should I do it this year, or should I wait, or should I do it? And I said, you should absolutely do it. Like, don't wait like I did, because my chance passed. So I can...
So you're saying you will not be able to make the cutoff now if you run?
No way.
You're sure of that?
No, I'm positive of that. First of all, I don't want to work that hard. But I'm positive I couldn't make the cutoffs anymore. Number one, I would have to really, really want to do it. And as much as I would want to do it, I just think my time has passed. I can live vicariously through my students that get into the 𝗬𝗹𝗸𝗀. And there is one this year, so it's pretty cool. You asked about something I signed up for that I wish I wouldn't have signed up for. I don't have anything. Everything I've done, well, I think everything brings meaning. There is a great learning in everything, even if it's not fun. Even, I can tell you, I found out I am not a run-a-mile loop course. Boring. I don't know how people do it. Literally, like, no. I have such great appreciation. It's very difficult for me to even train or run on a treadmill. I need to go somewhere. I love the adventure of moving forward. The people who do the multi-day on a loop, they're amazing. It's amazing. It was never for me. And I know as I'm an aging athlete here, it's like, those are the best kind of races for you to try to go do. And I will support you and watch you do that, but it's not for me. But I have no regret for signing up for one, because I learned that it wasn't for me.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you were doing ultras and you were not enjoying them, even though you're winning. You did start with a few Ironmans initially. So why did the Ironman stop? Was it the logistical challenge, or it's just that they faded away in terms of encouraging? You didn't find them interesting enough? What happened?
No, they were for sure interesting enough. I did a lot of Ironmans, believe it or not. Kona a few times, World Championships. I loved it. What I found more challenging when I became a mother was the time to fit in swimming, biking, running. In order to do well in an Ironman, when I did well, I qualified for Hawaii more than a few times. Yeah, I did well. You have to spend a lot of time doing all those three disciplines. I wouldn't say that I gave it up. I would say that I just moved on to putting my time to something different.
That makes more sense. You could always go back to Ironman now.
I could
Lisa.
totally always go back to Ironman. I could totally.
And in your age bracket, I'm sure you'll get into Kona again.
No, I mean, I definitely have the desire to do like a multi-day Ironman, like five in a row. Yeah.
You can do Ultraman as well.
Yeah, I have not done that, but I've coached somebody who's done more than a few of those.
The other element is, in the corporate world, they say leaders are not born, they're made. In running, are legends born or they're made? I know you got a strong history of athleticism in the family. I don't know if you consider yourself, but I do consider you as a legend. So what does it take to become a legend in ultra running?
I'm still trying to figure that out. When somebody says, oh my God, you're a legend, I'm like, well, what does that mean? I mean, how did that happen? I'm still the same person. Like, I'm aging like the rest of us. Every day we're all a year older or a day older or a minute older. But how does somebody become a legend? And I don't have the answer for that. Like, I can look at my good buddy Marshall Ulrich and say, you're a legend. And I guess it means that you're getting older and that you're a legend is somebody who's done a lot in years before you. Ultra running is exploding. I mean, races are selling out. Every day a new coach is born. Every day there's more and more and more and more people. I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome. I really do. But I also know that perhaps being a legend means 30 plus years, 35 years of doing something, doing it pretty well. Obviously, I was never as fast as the fast people now. When I was winning, there was nobody else to beat. There was nobody else to beat when I was winning. But now you got thousands more, hundreds, thousands more people to beat. So there's just more people. So when I look at what it might mean to be a legend is you're a part of the creation. the evolution of it.
True.
Like I might look at Courtney, who I think is just awesome, 𝗕◁𝗏𝗴𝗲. She's still really young. She's really young, still winning. I mean, is she a legend? Not yet. I don't know. Maybe some people would
Time
call
will
her a
tell.
legend. I think maybe it comes with wisdom and it comes with growth and age.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to take the title. And I know many legends then.
In the overall experience that you've had, do you reflect on it from a spiritual angle perspective? And if you do, I have a couple of questions for you. What is it that you learned about life that you hold the most precious?
I've learned about life that I hold the most precious is that life really is love, that life is love, and that in the end of our life, that's really all it is love, and how you've loved, how well you've loved. I mean, and that's just from experience of watching people move to the other side of their journey, where you can't take anything with you except for the love that you've given, that you've shared, that you've received. And to me, I carry all of that with me in my adventures.
Well said. What's the question that you still are searching for an answer?
I think we're always searching for a why. Why do I want to do this? Or how am I going to do this? But the evolution of your own life, the productivity of your own life, my purpose is continually changing. My passions might remain the same, but the purpose of how I use them changes. So I'm constantly asking myself, what am I going to do, or who am I going to be when I grow up? And that puts a big why with it. And in that same feeling, it also leaves you with an awe feeling. Like I feel like awe when you look at something or you feel something that like awe, like that.
Yeah.
The word awe to me means constant searching.
Do you meditate regularly, or are you one of those who believes that running is meditation for you?
I definitely meditate. I meditate 20 minutes every morning. Often I try to do it later in the day, but that doesn't always happen. Running is certainly meditation for me. It's peaceful. It's so productive. I definitely believe in sitting quiet and still and tuning out everything if possible.
Any inspiring books that you would like to cite? Any books that remain with you, you talked about, inspired you maybe?
Oh my gosh, so many books. So many books. I don't think I could pick out
Top of the
just
mind, whatever comes to your mind. The books that you forget to mention won't feel bad, I promise.
yeah. Well, I just read a book. It has nothing to do with running, called 𝗕◁𝗏𝗀𝗏. And I believe it's on the bestseller list now. It's pretty amazing story of an elderly man giving of gifts, and just how it's hard to explain. It was so touching of how this man, Theo, turned his life around to share gifts.
Feel of Golden, you said.
𝗕◁𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏.
Okay, I'll definitely check that out.
You should definitely, you would like it.
Any of the old ones? Any of the ones which have stayed with you for a very long time?
Not offhand.
Okay, cool. Here comes the favorite part. What's the question you have for me?
Oh boy, what's the question I have for you? What's next for you?
I got an Ironman coming up, Estonia, Tallinn, in August.
And how's your training going?
Yeah, it's going well. For my first two Ironmans, I didn't have a coach, and I realized how much I was missing because I had a DNF in Barcelona last year. And I met someone there who mentioned about this coach of his, and I liked the whole sound of it. And I signed up and I started the training in February. And I'm so surprised. There was so much I didn't know about the sport. And I'm like, every day is a learning. Every new activity that he gives me is a learning. And it's been quite an experience, I would say.
That makes me very happy for you.
Thank you. And of course, I got the New York Marathon coming up later in the year as well. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah. I don't know if you're going to be around, but it would be awesome if I was able to catch up with you in person.
Yeah, we'll come to Wyoming.
let's try that.
You're welcome anytime.
Great.
Well, I do have one other question for you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Who inspires you? Who's the number one person?
So I guess it's tough to beat my dad. Even in his absence, I think the learnings that he's left behind, the examples that he set of his life, his teachings. My house is full of books. So it's very difficult for anyone to match my dad as of now, because he was so wholesome in his persona. And thanks to his book, I got to know him so well. I don't think I'll ever be able to know anyone as well as I knew my dad. My daughter comes a close second. My mother comes a close second. So there was this book which really inspired my dad. He came to know about it very late in his life, but he ensured that he lived up to the motto or the mission of that book. The book is called 𝗍𝗶𝗄𝗃. And if you've not heard about the concept of the book, the world's biggest knowledge bank are the graveyards, because people give away their wealth, their property, their possession, their money at the time they're dying. What they forget to give away is their wisdom of wealth of wisdom. And my father took it so honestly that till his last breath, he told me almost everything he could have ever told me about his perspective on life and
that's
some
awesome.
of the deepest secrets. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
That's a good example for someone to emulate. You tend to hold back thinking that, who's going to value this? Let me keep it with me. But trust me, the way God has made us, every inch of ours, whether it's physical or it's our mind, has some value somewhere. It's all that you need to find the right person who can value it to the extent where they will appreciate what you give them.
So well said.
Thank you very much, Lisa. It was a awesome pleasure walking through your life and journey and deep insights and some of the stuff that you shared, some of the experiences that you narrated. I'm sure they're going to be a significantly valuable learning for a lot of my listeners. And I hope you get tons and tons of coaching assignments out of that.
Thank you so much. Well, let's stay in touch. I'm excited for you about your Ironman.
Definitely, for sure. Thank you very much.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.